Breaking news, flames tear through a house in North Hills. The two-story Craftsman home on North Sepulveda Boulevard was vacant. It took 45 firefighters about 35 minutes to knock it down. The home had actually burned before, and the LA Fire Department says they had to deal with a lot of safety hazards at the home. The CBS 2 News team is here, and we have more breaking news, a shooting in Reseda. Let's get right up to Stu Mundell in Sky 2. Stu.
That's right. It started out here as a shots fired call at the 18,300 block of Saticoy. LAPD's West Valley Division arrived out here. They found one person with gunshot wounds. Sadly, that person passed away here on scene. Right now, though, it is a crime scene. They're waiting for homicide detectives to arrive. They don't have much of a description of the shooter, but they said they saw a black vehicle fleeing the scene after those shots were fired. Live in Sky 2 over Reseda, I'm Stu Mundell. Pat, back to you.
All right, thank you, Stu. Well, tonight, a new turn in the country's immigration policy that is separating children from parents. CBS 2's Chris Holmstrom is live in downtown LA where protests were held tonight. Chris.
Yeah, there were more than 150 protesters out here, people of all ages. Many of them were holding signs that say, "Stop separating families."
And we are showing up across the country. We are
immigration advocates taking the stand, fighting back against President Donald Trump's immigration policy. The new policy orders the prosecution of anyone caught crossing the border illegally. Once in custody, they are separated from any children with them because minors can't be held in adult jails.
These children have already suffered trauma, if not in their home countries, on the journey to the United States. Now we're ripping them from the arms of their parents.
Advocates go on to say the majority of them are from Guatemala, Honduras, or El Salvador, areas known for rampant violence. Violence, they say, gives them the right to international protection. Assembly member Wendy Carrillo sought asylum from El Salvador when she was 5.
So my story is not unique. It is a story of millions of people across this nation, millions of Central American families who are continuing to flee violence and just simply want a better life.
At Otay Mesa Detention Center near San Diego, several hundred detainees are awaiting immigration hearings. But the chance of being granted asylum are slim, and many of them could face long detentions of up to several years separated from loved ones.
If they're being prosecuted, though, just like any other crime in the United States, the judicial system in the U.S. does not have family jails. So you commit any crime in this country and you get prosecuted for it, you are going to go to jail.
And as this issue goes on, many of the parents will be housed in the federal prison system. Here locally, that could be 1,000 people heading to the Victorville prison. And Pat, since this policy went into effect, nearly 700 children have been affected from the adults that they crossed the border with. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, Chris, thank you so much for that. Riverside police are looking for this man tonight. He is wanted for sexually assaulting a woman near the Mount Rubidoux Trail. A woman says the man approached her after she parked her car and asked if she had a cell phone, then sexually assaulted her and ran away. It happened on Tuesday around 7 in the morning. Now in San Francisco, police are trying to find the man who was caught on video repeatedly kicking a person lying on the sidewalk. That man is wearing a suit and tie and carrying a briefcase and seems to attack the person out of nowhere. Officers hope someone recognizes this man. Was it an accident or a deadly crime? A Calabasas man was riding his bike when he was struck and killed by a sheriff's deputy. And now the victim's family claims they have new evidence that proves he should face criminal charges. CBS 2's Crystal Cruz is live in Calabasas with details. Crystal.
Hi, Pat. We spoke to his wife tonight, who says she turned over this new evidence to the DA that she says proves this deputy was texting, even though, according to court records, he says he wasn't.
And it changed our lives forever, you know. I mean, just like in a split second. It's kind of strange, you know.
Louise Oland had been married to her husband, Milton, for 36 years when he was hit and killed on his bike in Calabasas by an LA County deputy 4 years ago.
And I came across the roadblock, and then I just asked, what happened? And they said, there's an accident. And I said, did it involve a cyclist? And they said yes.
Louise knew it was her husband. He hadn't answered his cell phone. Last week, the Board of Supervisors approved a nearly $12 million settlement with the family. Louise's lawyer tells us today new information was given to the district attorney's office showing the exact time, down to the seconds, the deputy was texting his wife and using his work computer when Milt was hit.
You know, I really want them to just look at the new evidence and investigate. The evidence is what's important, and the truth. And if they just do that, then we see what happens.
The DA's office told us via email, we have had communication with the civil attorney, but declined to comment further. In honor of Milt, Louise is working to stop distracted driving, spreading the message, don't text, stop wrecks.
Just, you have to keep moving forward.
And Louise says her husband Milt was always looking forward to becoming a grandfather. A few years after his death, their son and his wife gave birth to a little boy. I'm Crystal Cruz, live in Woodland Hills tonight. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Crystal. Police are looking for a driver who ran away after slamming into parked cars, killing one of his passengers. It happened overnight on the 1100 block of Sherman Way in Sun Valley. 23-year-old Juan Torres was thrown from the car and died. Another woman in the car was seriously hurt and taken to the hospital. An LA judge says it's the worst case of abuse he's ever seen. An 8-year-old boy tortured and murdered by his own mother and her boyfriend. Well, now that couple will spend their lives behind bars. Isaro Aguirre was sentenced to death today for the horrific killing of 8-year-old Gabriel Fernandez. The boy's mother, Pearl Fernandez, received life in prison for her role. The couple tortured, starved, and eventually beat Gabriel to death in Palmdale in 2013. Gabriel's teacher reported the abuse, but social workers never removed him from their home. Today in court, the teacher described him as a kind child.
I don't assign number 28 to another student because I feel that it's only his number now. And it's a way for me to honor him in my classroom.
And the case doesn't end with today's sentencing. Trials are planned for the social workers and their supervisor. President Trump is in a war of words tonight with some of America's closest allies as he prepares to meet with the leaders of the world's biggest economies. And CBS 2 political reporter Dave Bryan is here to explain why President Trump is facing a pretty chilly welcome at the G7 summit.
That's right, Pat. The meeting is going to be in Canada, and he's not expected to get a hero's welcome, to say the least. On his way to the North Korea summit, that is, President Trump will stop tomorrow in Canada, where he'll meet briefly with the leaders of 6 other allied nations, several of whom are steaming mad about tariffs. And today, angry demonstrators filled the streets there.
Stop deportation! Stop deportation!
They angrily marched through Quebec City, protesting the annual summit of 7 countries, including the U.S., called the G7 summit. But the anger of the street protesters may seem mild compared to what President Trump could be facing from the leaders of the 6 other countries when they convene on Friday in Canada. They're angry over a growing list of Trump administration policies. With trade tariffs at the top of the list, French President Emmanuel Macron and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau warned Trump that going it alone might not work out so well for the U.S. Macron tweeted, "The American president might not mind being isolated, but neither do we mind signing a 6-country agreement if need be." President Trump then turned his Twitter tantrum on the Canadian President Trudeau. Prime Minister Trudeau, he wrote, is being so indignant, bringing up the relationship that the U.S. and Canada had over many years and all sorts of other things, but he doesn't bring up the fact that they charge us up to 300% on dairy, hurting our farmers, killing our agriculture.
Perhaps President Trump doesn't mind that he's being isolated today, but these 6 countries have shared values.
Well, he won't be there long. President Trump is now scheduled to leave the Canada meeting on Saturday morning, several hours before the meeting ends. He'll fly directly to Singapore, where the summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is scheduled for next Tuesday. Pat, back to you.
All right, thank you, Dave. Well, a man is arrested in L.A. He's accused of killing 2 tourists in Las Vegas. The victims, who were Vietnamese, were found stabbed to death in the Circus Hotel on Friday. Detectives believe Julius Trotter broke into their room, burglarized it, then killed the 2. The DA is going after a local company, accusing them of selling formula with too much lead in it. That's still ahead. Plus, taking the wheel, a scared passenger has to guide everyone to safety after a bus driver passes out. Plus, drying up the fake reports about water laws. Is it really true you won't be able to shower and do laundry on the same day?
No big deal. I've been doing that for about 30 years. Haven't showered in a month. Hey, coming up, weather. It's on the way.
And here's a look at the guests tonight on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert.